Welcome to Wizard Team, a Black magical podcast for Black magical stories.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Robyn, and Porshèa embarking on a journey through the many fantasy stories written by and about Black people. First up, we're reading Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, and today we're discussing Chapter 2.
Previously, very briefly, we on Chapter 1 we met Amari Peters, whose brother is missing. A lot of people think that he's dead, and some people, Emily Grant and her mom, are rude and kind of throw it in her face that he's dead, and also that she doesn't belong at the school that she's at, because
Uncouth.
yeah,
Insufferable.
yeah, whiteness prevails at Jefferson Prep. And while it's like summertime now, Amari is kind of in this limbo where she doesn't know if she's going to be able to go back. And while she's dealing with that, she gets a mysterious email that tells her she's going to have a delivery, and then it self-destructs, and then there's a knock on the door. So that's kind of where we've left off, is she has somebody is at the door with some kind of delivery. So yeah, I guess we just get into it. I really love this. Like, obviously we haven't, this is like the beginning, but I love the introduction into this like world, because it's very like quirky and whimsical and like confusing, but it also makes a lot of sense. So she like gets to the door and opens the door, and she sees this person in there in like, like patchwork clothes. Like their clothes are kind of like just like worse for the wear. And
I wrote it as like Kanye West, like fashion.
yeah,
line,
like
basically.
Kanye chic.
Yeah.
Except like a little less futuristic, because I think she, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
She's homeless. And like, okay, all right, I wrote down, so there's a line that she says, let me just read it straight up because I won't do it justice from memory. She says, I don't have any money, but there's a Hot Pocket in the freezer you can have. Mama hasn't gone shopping yet. That is Pulitzer Prize worthy. Man. Just to like let you know what this man is looking like at her door. She said, oh, hello, sir. Are you here collecting Salvation Army? Like,
and I love that she's like, I don't have money, but like you can eat our food.
I got a Hot Pocket?
Yeah. Like she was raised right.
Right. I love the spirit, but I'm also like, this is exactly why you shouldn't assume things by people's appearances. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that's something that is like, don't judge the book by its cover. I'm like, that's something that you like. I get why she probably feels this way, but also she needs to like check that in her like assumptions of people.
Yeah. Say hello. How can I help you? And let him tell you if he wants that, if he needs a Hot Pocket or some money. Let him approach that subject.
And like. And then I love that he's like, excuse me, this is the height of fashion. Like,
right. Kanye was like out there.
He's like, this is the spring summer collection, okay?
Right. This is the latest from Kanye's Gap line. I don't know if you know about
the
it.
New Yeezys, okay?
Hasn't come out yet, because you don't know nothing about that. Yeah, and it turns out that he's the delivery person. He has this like tablet. And he's like, oh, you're up for one Broaden Your Horizons kit. And she's like, okay, like not really understanding. And then it's like really, it's just so interesting because she doesn't know what's going on. So he's like, so she's like, can I, get what the delivery is? He's like, not until you sign. And she's like, okay, well, where's the package? Because all he has is this tablet. And it's been left in her brother's old like bedroom closet. And she's like, how did it get here? Did you take it into the house? Yeah. He's like, yeah, with your brother's permission. And then it's like, now we have to take this memory from you. Like I've delivered the thing. It's already in the house. You signed for it. I'm gonna take your memory, and then like in a couple hours, you'll just have an urge to clean up in there, and then you'll find it, which I think is really like dope and like an interesting. Like,
I struggle.
I think it's dope in the terms of like world building. I think if somebody else told me this, I'd be like, "No, are you kidding?" But like in terms of world building and like the idea of like a discreet delivery service and like thinking about the ways that you keep it a secret is really interesting to me.
So I struggle because I just have this like, and it definitely has to happen for the whimsy and the world building. Like it needs to be written in this way. That's not the struggle. My struggle is like if I put myself in Amari's shoes. Y'all know that you were in an underground society. Explain some shit.
Right.
Especially if you'll take my memory afterwards. Don't just start in the middle of the sentence like this is it might be an everyday occurrence for you, sir. But you need to explain. You need to back up and start from the beginning.
Although I will say
the irony that you're saying that, Robyn, and you are like the prime person I know that will start a conversation in the middle of wherever your brain left you.
I'll be like,
but it's so funny because Robyn will just say something, and I'll be like, "All right, cool," and then Connie will be like, "Okay, so what's the like origin of this? Like, what's the context?" And I'm just like, "I don't know. She said
just go with it.
I was like, I'm not asking questions."
I love that you can tell like how long Bayana has had to deal with me. The difference is I am neurodivergent and I definitely started from the beginning of the sentence in my head. It's not my fault y'all weren't with me. But like I'm not expecting, or when someone says, "Can you clarify?" I'm like, "Oh shoot, I did that thing again, didn't I?" You Porshèa, you have to admit, at least I'll be like, "Oh, my bad, I just started in the middle. My fault."
Yeah.
Amari is like, "Excuse me," and he is like, "You messing up."
This man is like, "Look, they got me on the clock. I only have 2 seconds to drop this off and go." So
you ain't seen Amazon quotas. Like I gotta. It's like, no, you have to explain. I am not of this. He be like, "Ooh, oh, never mind. I don't have to wipe your memory. I see the bureau for you." Like the who, the what,
right? Yeah,
the why,
it's all very like. Although I will say that for our I'm assuming that discreet delivery services also happen if you're in the world. So like, even if you know about the bureau and whatever, you would still get your memory wiped because it's like somebody don't, want to cover all our tracks. But yeah, but
I
like,
want to note that the memory device looks like a remote control, which gave me very much like whenever this book was originally like discussed, it was like it's like Men in Black meets whatever, and I was like that device. I was like, oh, I can see like in my mind like what that little device would look like trying to wipe her memory.
I definitely see the GIF of Will Smith, like just
and then like. But the fact that like he was already bringing that thing out, like he was already ready to go whoop, like I was like, oh, he's too comfortable with wiping memories for my comfort. And I also want to know that this man has been doing this work, like he's been at least 30 years working with the bureau and is doing this work.
Part-time.
Yeah, so maybe he's like maybe he's
he said,
retired then and is just like, this is my,
Yeah,
because he says best 30 years of my life.
Best 30 years of my life, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like
I don't think he's at the. So that's how I read it. Was he was at the bureau for 30 years and he retired and now he's doing part-time work at Discreet Delivery.
That's what I read it as too.
That's how I read it.
I was like, this man got 30 years training at the freaking bureau, and his thing is, I guess his expertise is memory wiping, and it was like, oh, we can do that for this delivery service. Boom, boom, bam.
Oh, like a side hustle. I get you. The other, so my thing is, the reason why I'm like, you have to explain it is because you're going to wipe their memory anyway. So to me, it feels like it would be a good way of making me comfortable. Though I guess there's no comfortable way of wiping your memory.
Yeah. It's like if you're gonna, because the thing is like she's not, the idea is that she wouldn't remember this interaction at all. She would just happen upon whatever the package is. So I could see not like going into like a full conversation because it's like you're not going to remember it anyway.
Yeah.
Wiping memory is always like tricky. Like in kind of any, morally. Like, it's like ethically... like in any type of thing, like even with consent, it's just like a weird thing because you could consent to the thing, but then like, I mean, there's so many stories of somebody being like willingly getting their memory wiped and then like they obviously forgot that they did that, so now they're trying to find out what happened in that gap of memory, and it's a whole thing. Like, so it's definitely like it's tricky.
I do want to also point out, though, that I really love in this story how well BB Alston folds in technology. Like, he's sitting there with a tablet that she has to sign, and then it looks like a remote control. And, like, it's not like this, like, completely, you know, I mean, we will get to the point where some of these, like, contraptions and stuff feel completely different, and, like, you don't, like, what is that, right? Thinking about, like, the next chapter. But, like, everything just looks like something that, you know, it just has like an extra function. So it just like feels like technology in this magical world just like advances like every other one, and they just are able to like fold in these things better. And as a reader, I really love it because I can like clearly see and like picture what is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like how that works.
Yeah. And I also like how, like, I think Porshèa mentioned last episode, like the pacing. Because it all happens very fast, and like you can feel Amari's like confusion, and like she's clearly like a step behind, which means that we are, but I like that we also going into it are like, nah, I don't like what's going on. And like you're getting these like little tidbits, like he does mention the bureau. He does give like certain things, and so you are like taking the information in without knowing what it means, but like knowing that it's going to be important, or like you will eventually know what it means. Yeah, I just think it's a really like interesting introduction to this world that, like, you know, it's like a very small thing, and then it kind of blooms out from there. Yeah. So then it turns out, because she's more than likely going to the bureau, her name is on the memory intact list, which means she can remember this entire thing, and doesn't have to like sit around and, you know, wait until the memory comes, or not even memory, like the inkling, the urge to go look in the closet comes to her. She can just like go straight there. Yeah, so then the man disappears, um and she's like, I don't know what the heck is in my brother's closet. And so
I like questioned, I'm like, when did this man deliver it? Because he was sitting there with her the whole time, as far as she can tell. So
he seemed
when
really
was the delivery made?
I wondered if he had something like, because it felt like he had, I don't know why, but I kind of like assumed he had like super speed or something, or like some kind of thing that maybe because of the way that he like just like disappears, and like, so it's a part of me, or like maybe some kind of like teleportation situation where like he's able to just like do the thing, or they sent it, maybe he physically didn't go into the apartment, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was like a teleportation, or it's teleportation when you move yourself. What is it when you move other things? Kinetic
Transmutation?
No,
that's something else.
Teleportation, I think, is you move yourself, but I feel like
I think it's kinesis.
Telekinesis.
Like telekinesis.
But that's,
thank you.
But that feels like that's like moving around. It's like making it fly or move. It's like Jean Grey, not necessarily like it moves. Because I could see like having a teleportation device, and you like put the package on the device, and then it goes to whatever. And I think that would still be teleportation.
My other thought is kind of like America Chavez. I'm bringing in Marvel here, but like portals, just being able to like portal in somewhere, drop it off, or I guess like Doctor Strange does this too. Like little. It's a podcast, y'all can't see me. But like
the ring, sling
like,
ring.
Sling ring. But I just kind of figured they were able to just like snap a button or whatever, and then like drop it off where I needed to be. Because also when she finds where it is, it's not like sitting on his bed. It's like I thought it was gonna just be like out in the open, like it is within his things, and so it's very interesting.
Yeah. Mysterious.
Also kind of unsettling that like they have this level of access to your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they
with
have
his
access.
permission.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. It
Right.
does feel like it is regulated, but I mean it's like the same thing in our world when there's like just certain technology that we have or certain things that people can do and you're just like, this is fine, but it could go like the wrong way very quickly. Yeah. It's just interesting.
Wizard Team is brought to you by Black Nerds Create, a collective providing content through the lens of critical and creative fandom. If you want to support or partner with BNC on projects like Wizard Team, let's build. Find out how at blacknerdscreate.com/support.
So then Amari goes into Quinton's room. And she like half expects him to yell at her for barging in without permission. And it kind of like so she walks in and we kind of just like see what his room is like. He has posters of Stephen Hawking and Martin Luther King. He has messy bed. He has all these like
We're back, y'all.
We're back, Luna. Yeah, his bed is messy. He has all these trophies, honor roll certificates, all this kind of stuff. So you
try to mute myself 1 second.
I just love that Luna's just like, nah. See, I was gonna sit down for this recording, but actually, I gotta go. I'm tired. I'm bored. You're not playing with me.
I was worried that the microphone would be picking up her snores anyway, so this is because she was really getting it in for a minute there. I don't know if y'all heard her, but
I didn't hear her. No.
Not the snores, no.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys could hear because I have my headphones in, but like my microphone was definitely going to be picking up some like
right. So yeah, so we go into the room, we kind of see like all of his like kind of quirks, I guess, right? Like he's like the things that he values, he's messy, but then you also see like all his academic like accolades and all that kind of stuff. But then there's like this detail that like investigators when he went missing came in and looked through all his stuff for clues and then left, right? But then Amari and her mom put it back the way that it was before. So it's not like, oh, Quinton just left and his room has been the same this whole time. It was like deliberately put back in the way that it was when he left by them, which I thought was like both sad but like a sweet.
It reminded me, so I had a friend that died in high school, and his parents just like kept his room exactly the same way as when before he passed, and it was like partially sweet and then also sad and made you feel kind of like going back to the first chapter where her mom is like, you have to kind of move on, but like you've literally like have this room stuck in this like time, right? And so we also know that like I don't, well, I think I might be skipping ahead, but he's been gone for 6 months. So it's not a crazy amount of time, right? And there's still, a lot of hope and things like that. But we know that Amari's been struggling with this, and so then to like know that she could just walk into his room, or that her and her mom have been tiptoeing around his room, and that when you open the door, it's just like you're back as if he would be in there, is really sad and emotional, and like, I get why it's hard for you to move forward.
Definitely. And I feel like it's interesting, like I like that this chapter Quinton isn't in this chapter, but you like feel his presence and you like feel the depth of like Amari's connection with him. And so even though, again, he's not there, but like he's walking inside and she has all these memories of like the fact that they used to play together, and like he's like 10 years older than her too. So that's also like it's a different
I wrote
kind
down
of,
like
it's like it's just a
he's
different
definitely
relationship.
straddling that line, right? Of like
Mhm.
father figure and
Mhm.
brother, and like the way that she talks about them talking about their dad leaving and stuff like that. Like he was a huge presence, right?
Mhm.
So
Whenever I saw the 10-year gap, I think maybe the first time too, I was reminded, like automatically was like, oh, Bayana. Like,
Yeah. Even though my gaps are way bigger actually, which is crazy, but like yeah, it's very similar. Like I had the thought too, of like, yeah, it's just it's a different dynamic. Yeah. So she goes in and she hears this like ticking sound, which I would be like, the heck? And like obviously, haven't watched in a while, but Doctor Who. I would have been like, you know what? No. I would have like maybe grabbed a bat. Like, what's in this house? You know what I mean? Like I would have definitely been a little like she's definitely nervous, but again, she has the context of like she did talk to the delivery guy who said the thing would be in the closet. So it's not like she's coming into the room of her own volition and hears a ticking noise. Like she knows that something is coming or is there.
Sorry, I meant to note this before we moved to ticking noise.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of the notes that she had in her memories of her brother was how they were talking about how they were going to show their loser father who ditched their mom that they were worth something, and that they'd always have each other's backs. And as someone whose father wasn't around when I was younger, I really like it helps. It made me think about a lot about how they probably, it seems like Quinton probably kind of like shaped his life to be like to prove himself, and that's why he has all these accolades and awards. Like he kept trying to use, like his whole thing was he wanted to prove himself. And he spoke with that with Amari as well. And Amari goes into that school thinking the same thing. She's going to prove herself to this person that's no longer even involved in their lives, to their own growth, I suppose, but also like the fact that they're trying to prove it to someone who's not going to ever like really come back and like care about that stuff. It was like a hit in the feels in a way, but it also like at some point I wonder like how much it became just like what he did, like him taking on this job and doing dangerous things became part of his like just him functioning, and him thinking like that, like him just like losing grip of like why he was doing it, and him actually enjoying like the feeling of things versus him always trying to prove himself. And I wonder how much of that is carrying over into how Amari is going to approach things going forward as well.
See, and I had a different take on that. And it made me, because it kind of made me wonder like how old was Amari when he left, and how much of that was Quinton, right? Because I'm assuming they have the same father, right? So
Quinton got a lot of time
at least
with
10
his
years
dad.
old, yeah, with his dad. And so it's probably we don't know like when their dad left, but I'm assuming it's something that plays a bigger role in Quinton. And I do agree with you, like him wanting to prove himself and him taking on these dangerous jobs and like being the best and excelling. But how much for Amari was, this is really important to Quinton, and this is like Quinton's driving force, and I'm looking up to Quinton, so like, yeah, I want to prove myself too. But like, does she really have, like strong memories of her father that, or you know what I mean, like who that is to push back against, or to feel very abandoned and hurt by? Like, not that she wouldn't feel some of that. I think that I don't know personally, but I have plenty of like people in my life whose fathers weren't in the picture. Like I know that is obviously going to affect you no matter what age it happens, but it feels like it would be a much bigger thing for Quinton, one because he was older, and two because he's a boy, and takes on like kind of the man of the house role or whatever, and so how much of Quinton's drive is something that like ties Amari to Quinton, not to her father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to think about, though.
Yeah. So we have this ticking noise. She goes into the closet. She's like, did he send me a clock? Like, what's going on here? She goes in the closet. There's this, it's empty except for this like giant chest that Quinton got back when they were younger. Saying that he needed a place to hold all of his master plans, which again, like I just like the like little things, so like you get to know Quinton without actually like having him in the scene. And so it sounds like there's something inside. So she opens it and then she has to like dig through it. It's not like, oh, I opened it, here's the package. Like she has to like pull out all this other stuff and it's at the very bottom. Which again,
is why
is like,
I kind of thought that there was like a teleportation or like a just like a plop it in,
right? Some kind of maybe it's like a you know those things that like disintegrate and then reappear like that, something like that. I don't know. I'm just making things up, but
magic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But also, I was thinking that like this whole thing about like the fact that the weariness of her like tracking down the noise itself after like the mysterious email that knew exactly that she was opening Quinton's email, and then it self-destructed, and then the memory removal. I'm like, this could be aggressive. That could be an explosion. Is she just kind of like following along to find it?
Right.
I thought was funny. And then the fact that like the quality of the things, like the chest is secondhand, and he had to break the locks to even get to open it and use it, and then like all the files for his master plans were all like beaten up and like worn. I was like thinking about how clear it is that like they don't have a lot, but with what they have, they imagine it to be the grand items that can be part of their adventures, and how much work goes into like using their imaginations to make the best out of what they have, and how much that is really part and parcel of like growing up poor and like or like not having enough money to go around to get the nice things, but like not just taking things as they are, but like actually like giving them the reverence you would something that was treasured.
Yeah. Also, how young Quinton is, the fact that he has master plans.
Right.
Hidden in a chest.
He was in there, like, Birdman hand rub. He was like, we about to make something happen. Like,
right? Like, what are we doing today? Pinky? You know what I mean? And like, you know, he's older now. I'm assuming he's like
22, because Mari's 12.
Mari's 12,
yeah. So, you know, but it's still like that. He's a young kid, like, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so so she finds this black briefcase. There's a white Post-it note on top with Quinton's handwriting, and it says, "For Amari's eyes only." And then he opens the briefcase or takes the briefcase out, and she like can't really get it open. And then there's another Post-it on the other side. So I love that there's all these like, it's kind of like he's leaving like a trail in a way. So the Post-it on the other side says, "Will open at midnight after the last day of school." So, which to me, I mean, I get it on the one hand because it's not like I guess you could give the code, but if you give the code, anybody could find it kind of situation. But it's like, dang, she just got the email. They just delivered it. She got to wait like how long?
Yeah, she says it's like 5 or 4.
Yeah, it's like, well, dang.
I thought it was fun because it's like she's like she definitely has a bedtime that is not midnight. Right. So I thought it was like a fun way for him to like encourage his sister to like break the rules a little bit and like go out of her usual boundaries of like what her mom tells her to do.
Right. And I like that she's like, I mean, I would just hate waiting. It's like one of those things people, you know, when people say like, "Oh, I have something to tell you."
Oh,
don't do
later.
that.
I'll tell you later.
He'll tell you later, and you're like, "Bro,
tell me now.
Please just tell me."
And usually it's nothing, but then it's like,
but then you're like, but your brain, yeah, it's like you're either worried or you're like, what's the tea, or like whatever it is. Like you're like, nah, if you're gonna say it, You might as well just say
for
the whole thing.
me, I wouldn't be able to do anything else, which I don't think that Amari does. Like, we just see her kind of watching the clock for the rest of the time. And I can only imagine, like, when her mom gets home, how distracted she is. And then her mom's trying to, like, talk to her about some real stuff because she just got sent home from school. You know what I mean?
And she's probably like,
she's like, yeah, Mom. Yeah. It's only 5. Okay.
Right.
It's only 6, right? I would have broken that. I would have opened it. I'd have broken it.
But the thing is she can't.
Knives would have been out. But I would have. Mom would have came home to me in my brother's room with a hacksaw going at it.
Her mom is like, girl, like we just
what is wrong with you?
Like maybe you do need to call that counselor. Like
right? Blowtorch, like I'm melting this lock. Something's gotta give. That's too long.
It's a long time. It's 4:13.
If I found this thing at 10, if I found it at 11, okay, I can wait an hour.
Okay, no, but it's definitely 4:13. So like that's
I guess
that's a day.
That's a whole.
That's a day.
I'm very good at distracting myself. I will turn on the TV. I was
gonna say like you gotta. That's a whole.
She got her laptop taken away.
Myself.
But maybe I'd be like, but Mom isn't home yet, so I would at least get in like true. I don't know, the Winter Soldier, just like knock out like 20, like knock out 2 hours, something like. Yeah,
see, but then my problem is that like if I try to distract myself, then midnight comes and you forget. Distracted.
That's true, but not if it's like right next to you. Not if she like holds herself up, because like we do see she like takes it into her room, which I guess then if she has if she doesn't have the laptop, I don't know. It's a tough situation, but I think if you can like hold yourself up and keep the briefcase right there, you won't forget. For our folks who have ADHD, you won't forget because it's right there and it's gonna open on its own. You don't have to like be like, oh snap, let me like find the code. Like it'll do the thing on its own. So if you're watching, like, I don't know, I can only think of Marvel things right now. I don't know why, but if you're watching WandaVision,
I've been watching MTV's The Challenge, so there's that. You could.
I just finished The Real Housewives. I finally watched the reunion. For Atlanta, so like say you're catching up on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and the thing pops open, and you can pause what's going on, and then put now you give your attention is diverted. But yeah, 8 hours is really disrespectful. Like could have said 5, because if it's after school, you know about the time she'll get home.
I feel like because of what the experience is about to be, it didn't.
Yeah, it does make sense.
It did have to be the
It did have to be nighttime. That's true. It makes sense.
But then the delivery guy could have came. But I guess the delivery guy, he had to know the delivery guy had to come when Mom wasn't home from work yet.
Yeah.
Oh, he was hung up by time and circumstance, but I'm still mad.
Chestnut checkers.
I feel like if you were Amari, whenever you finally got to talk to Quinton again, you'd be like, and I just think I got a bone to pick about whenever you're making deliveries to me, okay? Like, we need to talk about this.
I am 12 and you want me to be patient?
Okay, wait. So can we talk about
what 12-year-old do you know is patient?
First of all. Second of all, during quarantine, I would say discovered, but it's more like I didn't really think about it, and like it became like a thing of like getting packages became like a source of serotonin. Oh, yes. And so like even now, and like I'm more out of the house, but if I come home and there's a package, and don't let it be a book, I'm like, hold up. I'm like, this is lit. So like that's the other thing is like, imagine getting a package and you can't open it right away. Like I would be so annoyed by it. I would be mad. I mean, as 28-year-old me, I'd be like, nah, this is some bullshit. Like I hate it here.
Even as someone who gets a lot of books for review, and sometimes the books like this is only rare. They've been pretty good about not sending me books that I have not asked for. But even if it's a book that's like not on top of my list of books that I really want to read very quickly or soon, I'll be like, ooh, what's in there though? Ooh,
yeah.
I
love that like I sometimes can't remember. Like I'll know in my head like, oh, this book came out. So like I pre-ordered books, and like the first one, all the other ones come out like I think at the beginning of next year, but the first one came out September, and I bought for Aminata. But I had another book that had also come out around the same time from a separate order. So when it came, I was like, maybe this is mine. And then I opened it and it was Ami's. But it was still great. Like, I love opening packages, you know? Like,
Wait,
and I bought it. So I was like, here you go, surprise. But like, yeah, I just
wait. So does Aminata not open book packages? Like
she does. Usually I know they don't. They don't usually. The thing is though, is that if I'm buying books for both of us, they have my name on them. So like that time I pre-ordered books, but like most of them were for me. I just snuck one in there for her. Like snuck it in. Like I am not buying it with my own money for myself, but I put it in there for her. And then I just didn't tell her about it. So usually if I get a package, even if it doesn't say her name because it's from an order that like was both of our books, like I usually can tell based on the date. I'm like, oh yeah, this is you. That time I just forgot, so it said my name on it, so I opened it. But usually I'll give it to her.
No, it was funny because it was reminding me of this really cute TikTok video of a Black girl getting her first book order in the mail.
Oh yeah,
and she was like.
And her mom was videotaping her, calling her a nerd. She was like, mind your business.
Yeah.
She was so excited.
And then the her mom did a follow-up video the next day and was like, it is 24 hours later. How are you doing with your book? And she was like, what? And she's like, how are you? She's like, the book that I finished yesterday? Like,
I'll never forget when my mom, whatever, Harry Potter came out when I was in college, like the last Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows. And we were driving, I think I've told the story before. We were driving back from Indiana to San Diego, and my mom does this thing where she's like, we're gonna do it in a day. And I was like, no, because I have this book that I need to pick up. It's very important. And we were in Vegas at the airport. That's where I went to like the Deathly Hallows book release party, and my mom was like, "What is happening?" Because there was a ton of people at the Vegas airport.
Not at the Vegas airport.
It was pretty nice. It was at the Vegas airport. That's hilarious. Like
they have casinos in there, so I wouldn't put it past
they got slot machines and everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's not.
I'm trying to figure out how we were even able to do it like that because we didn't have a boarding pass. This is after 9/11. This is after
9/11. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. I guess it was not. It was before the thing because like when you walk in the Vegas airport, even before you get through, they have slot machines. So it was probably like before the security.
Yeah.
And then we got back on the road, and before we got home, I finished it, and she was like, "You made me. You worried the hell out of me." I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. And I told her too, I was like, and you're going to have to drive if you want to go. Like, I'm going to pick up this book and then I'm not driving anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah, getting books is such a, like, every
it's
stage,
vibe, man.
It's like ordering it is a boost of serotonin. Receiving it is a boost of serotonin. Even, like, just organizing my bookshelf. Because usually the book, it's not like I'm planning to read it right then. Unless I'm in the middle of a series, like when I got Jade City, and then I was like halfway through and I was like, okay, if I don't buy these books right now, then I'm gonna have a problem. So like sometimes, usually I'm just like, okay, cool, it'll go on the shelf, I'll get to it in a couple months. But it's still like nice to just have and to receive. And like,
and it's especially if you've been like watching the book for a while, like if you've like heard about it and then like you're like, okay, no, it's like when the House of Hunger is the second book by Alexis Henderson. I've read Year of the Witch in her first book. Yeah, it was okay, but as soon as I heard the premise for House of Hunger, I was like, and then I saw the cover, I was like, oh no, like it's bought, like it's pre-ordered, it's here. I got the notification that I could track my book Monday. I just clicked it. It said, "Oh, label's been created." I've been checking it every day this week.
I pre-ordered Foul Lady Fortune, and then there's like some kind of like issue with shipping, so I don't know when it's coming. And luckily I pre-ordered another book, Soul of the Deep, at the same time, so I still got book mail this past week, but only one of the two books, so I'm like, it's fine. I wasn't planning to read it like soon, but at least when I got the email, I was like, at least I've received book mail this week. You know what I mean? Like, at least I was expecting a book. I did get a book. Like
a book was received.
A book was received. So I'm not pressed. And I have a couple more weeks until another book comes. I'm finally gonna read The River of Silver, and I'm very excited about it. Anyway, that was a huge tangent, and Amari does not receive a book, so we should keep.
I also want to say
serotonin.
The serotonin, the patience, but also you can, if you're like me, get books from the library.
Yeah, I do that as well.
It's not
audiobooks
like,
and Libby too.
Yes.
But receiving it in your hand.
Yeah,
no,
because I don't feel the same way
like
going to the bookstore either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I go to Barnes and Noble, like, it's a different thrill.
Different serotonin.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that we spent like a good chunk of time
talking about buying books.
I just want to say, talking about buying books and getting books in the mail. And I just wanted to let people know you can also, and as well,
get
them from the library.
If you were not sure, if you were listening to a podcast full of book nerds, like, yes.
Because, no, I also want you to know that I am currently putting together a bookshelf. I had to FaceTime Bayana because the people in my house were not giving me what needed to be gave. And I was having a moment of existential crisis. And the first thing I thought was, oh, I need more books.
Yes.
I'm currently shopping for books.
Yeah.
So I do buy books as well.
Yeah. But I get it. I definitely have like
You're acknowledging the levels of serotonin and the differences amongst them.
And it's like, it all brings joy. Receiving a book in any way, like, sparks joy. But then it's just like the specific...
Okay, I'm sorry. I just looked up the same book tracking, and it says it's in my mailbox currently. Today.
That's okay. I'm on a bookshop right now because you reminded me that I needed to pre-order the new Emily Henry that's coming out. So we're
just, and I
best.
I gotta get my hair done tomorrow. But once the dust settles in my wallet, I will likely be buying the book. Might have to be pre-ordered. That's honest. It's so funny because like there are like a couple like books that came out like back to back in terms of like the weeks. So like I keep getting these holds in my account where I'm like, I thought I had more money than I did, but it's because they're just holding like the full pre-order amount until they take the specifics, and then it goes.
That's why I don't F with Barnes and Noble on a low. There's several reasons not to F with Barnes and Noble, but that's
like, why is this an $80 charge? And I'm like, oh, you're holding it. Okay, cool.
I ordered from Blackwell's, and they take the money right then and there, and I know where it went. Okay,
see, I actually prefer that they don't take it right away. I like that they don't take it right away. Barnes and Noble.
Oh, Barnes and Noble.
Only because
I don't like that.
I like it only because sometimes I'm pre-ordering books in a moment of weakness, and I really have no business buying books. So that's why I like it, because it's like I shouldn't be doing this, but I can worry about like the money will come out later.
Future Bayana will have the problem. The bill will come due to future Bayana.
Exactly.
Okay. Present Robyn is still dealing with past Robyn's eye surgeries, and so I've been like, I really want to get this. I really want to get that. I need to get a place of my own. All of these things. I need to get my hair did. All of these things.
I need to buy clothes because now it's getting colder. Like I need jeans, and I'm like, I just want to buy more books. I'm like, I can't wear books.
I'm laughing at
my boss just
bad.
Sent me a thing.
Like books have us down bad.
Man,
bad.
So bad.
But also,
literally like every month, not even every month, every time I get paid, I'm like, let me look at my book to buy list and see what's going on. And sometimes I'm like, nah, not this time. But I usually at least take a gander,
I'll be like, is there anything I can buy that will make me feel better about like making a book purchase this month, right? Like whenever y'all shared the special edition copies of This Poison Heart and the sequel in the Discord, I was like, see, I didn't even know this existed. I could have just kept walking around not knowing these existed, but now that I do know they exist,
so
they have to get bought. So that was my justified book purchase for this month. Did I still order more books afterwards?
I hate that I'm a what is it called? Like, y'all plot these out and you have your list and you go by your list, and I don't do that. So at any moment, especially when like there's a
oh no, that was very much a like I saw it because someone else clicked it, bought it.
Yeah,
like that was impulse.
No, but so this is what I mean though, is that you showed me the Amari from and the only reason why I haven't bought that yet is because of these eye surgeries. But I already know that when I go on that website, when I go on the Waterstones website, not only am I going to get Amari, but I'm like, well, since I'm paying for the shipping,
I mean, shoot, you want to get the gilded ones? Theirs is really pretty.
I always get this. If I'm going to
already have the gilded ones, but I don't have
the merciless ones.
Yeah,
I have both. I've just decided I'm getting 2 copies of that book every
that makes sense now that I should probably just get the merciless ones. Yeah. And I don't have the Song of Race and Ruins sequel.
I don't think that cover is different over there.
Yeah. Look, if you're gonna buy from Waterstones, if you know which ones have special editions, because like Waterstones is the only place I know that like consistently will have the
sprayed edges
on sprayed edges. If they're gonna do a special edition for something, and a good amount of times they'll have the foiling, those are honestly my 2 favorite things. It's the foiling, and then especially if there's stenciling on the edges.
Yeah.
Woo! Take my money. You got me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're on this tangent, but
it's gone for so long. But yeah, it's gonna happen more than once. Like this is like you get certain people in a room together, and these things happen. And now y'all learned a lot about buying books and how they spark joy. And don't ever send me a book and tell me I can't open it until 8 hours later.
Also, don't send me a book shaped package, and that heifer's not a book.
And it's not a book. Oh my god. I be opening stuff. I'm like, ooh, what's this? I'm like, oh.
If you send me anything that I can't open in immediately, like, don't do it.
Just don't send it to me. Bring it to me. Bring it to me at the time that I can open it.
At the time I'm able to open it, which we will figure out that Quinton is unable to do.
Yes.
But
let's do that. So Amari does not receive a book.
Unfortunately.
First
she gets a briefcase.
She gets a briefcase, and inside the briefcase, there's no book to be found. So disappointing, but there's some other stuff. Anyway, so she so it's 11:58. She's sitting on her bed. She's looking at the briefcase. She says it looks suspicious, which I love kids. And I love her voice. I said that already, but I do.
And like again, how often are you getting briefcases? Like when all briefcases,
she's like, this is suspicious.
The whole thing is suspicious.
And then she's like 11:59 p.m. and she's like, okay, I'm totally tripping, right? What do I honestly think is gonna happen? Because she's just like, the anticipation is building, and she's like, no, this is ridiculous. At 12
but also like, she can't play herself either, because like you just had a self-destructing email, a man brought out of nowhere and said he delivered a package in your brother's room, and
it's like you've seen all these things. You've seen all these things. It's been ticking. Like you've seen all these things happen.
So you know it's going to be something crazy.
Yeah. So at 12 a.m. on the dot, there's a click and a hiss. As it unlocks, she lifts the top, and their green and purple stripes stare back at her. Which, like,
can I just say, green and purple as a color combination, depending on the shades, green and purple as a color combination is one of my favorites. And for a while, when I was probably about Amari's age, when I was like 12, everything that I did, like, I just mean stuff like my notebook with my markers and stuff was a green and purple combination.
Yeah, those are definitely 2 of my favorite colors. But I will say that when I see this, I think like Barney. Like I think like that's the color combo I'm thinking.
That's where I said depending on the shades.
It depends on the shades.
But like, first off, don't go hard on my bro Barney, right? Like he held me down for a good moment, and I feel bad for all the kids who like, because we went through a phase where, oh, you like Barney, like after you get a certain age, because it's a baby thing to do, and I feel like he deserves more respect than that, because the cleanup song still goes, and y'all.
I wasn't allowed to watch.
Everybody.
I didn't know that was Barney. I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. I wasn't allowed to watch Barney. But mostly because my parents didn't like it. Like they were annoyed by it. It was also like they didn't like Teletubbies either, and somehow that got snuck in. I think it was just like it came on right after Sesame Street, and they would still be getting ready. You know what I mean? So like they couldn't completely control it. Whereas like when Barney came on, we were either out of our way out, or like they were able to pay attention. So there were definitely some times where like Teletubbies would be on and we'd be watching it and they'd just be like, bro, this is trash. Which I get, because sometimes like for a minute my 3-year-old brother was into Baby Shark, and it's like we were watching it and I was just like, what is this? And my stepmom was like, yeah, I don't know, it's like, it's not good, but he's in it. And I'm like, this just feels weird. Like, how did this happen?
I remember babysitting my cousin and their parents. They like went away. They went to dinner with my parents, something like that. And my baby cousin was 10 or 11 months old. Like, you still feed him and all that stuff. Maybe a year, maybe. And they were like, "You're good. Play with him. Whatever. He'll go to sleep. If he freaks out and you can't get him to calm down, put on Barney." And I was like, okay, we ain't watching Barney, because I was like 15, 16. I was like, I got this. I don't need to, whatever. Kid freaked out. Mostly now that his parents were gone. And who are you?
Yeah.
Child? Why are you here? I put on Barney. That kid didn't blink.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like kids like my brother will
be healthy.
Yeah, that's like my brother, when you put him in front of a television, he just gets like, his face just is like done.
Stills.
Eyes wide, mouth open a little, and you're just like, is this okay? Like, is this allowed? Like,
my niece is like that now too. She my niece loves TV, and I'm like, you are way too young to even be like cognizant of the light. Yeah, and she'd be like, her eyes be following the TV around, and I'm like, My brother's like, oh yeah, she loves to wake up and watch soccer with me, and I'm like, she does love sports, which I enjoy, but like, also, you are a 10-month-old baby. You should not be watching TV like this.
Yeah, it's a thing. Okay,
not to be on a kids corner trying to thing. I will say though, because of TikTok, I have come around Gracie's Corner, and I'm like, I love Gracie's Corner.
My brothers love Gracie's Corner. My brothers go in, like, they be dancing. The little one, he's 18 months now. Like he does the dances. Like they'll put their hands on his hips and he'll do it, and then he'll turn around and he's like it's their jam. I think my stepmom and my dad had to like put the songs on their phone so that like they could just play them or whatever, but those songs bang.
Yeah, Gracie's Corner got hits.
Yeah. Okay. So, green and purple stripes. She pulls it out. It's a suit jacket. And this is why it's like, to me it's giving like Barney colors. She says it's the ugliest thing she's ever seen, and there are matching pants. She doesn't know what's going on, but it makes her smile because it's very clearly from Quinton. And then there's more in the suitcase: an envelope and a pair of thick metallic shades. Attached to the shades is a chain of Post-it notes. So it says, "Please lie down before putting these on. I'm serious about lying down first. Pinky swear level serious." And she's like, all right, cool. I'll she like looks at the glasses. She's like, these seem normal. I don't really understand, but it's pinky swear level serious. Fine, So she puts the briefcase to the edge of her bed, lays down, puts the glasses on her face, and then she hears her brother. And that's how the chapter ends. This book and these cliffhangers, boy.
Sure. So many cliffhangers. So much like, it's really difficult to just like stop when you're reading this book, but it's also like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, the cliffhangers do a really good job of like, oh, what's happening next, but also like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love how much of it, like, so one thing I do want to note, because again, I do have the Waterstones paperback edition, is that it has like, instead of closet, it has wardrobe. Instead of pants, it has trousers. And has like humor with the U in it and stuff. So it's funny like seeing the difference in these little things contextually, and like y'all are saying them, and I'm like, oh right, okay, so this is the Bridges version for real. Like they went in. Okay, cool. But I love that like you can very clearly and distinctly see the relationship between Amari and Quinton, and that like he's like, I know this girl. Like y'all saying like she doesn't have any patience. He's like, she's not gonna want to sit down to put these glasses on. She's gonna just want to like keep doing whatever she's doing, put the glasses on, and not really like think about it. And I need her to lie down. So he knew he had to make the 3 very clearly distinct pinky promise level lay down. Like that was how that's clearly something between them that they used to like mark the degree to which they need to like trust the other person for the thing. And I love that. And I love that she's even as she's like, it's true to her, because even as she's thinking about it, she's like, I don't really got to, but he said pinky swear, so I guess I'll like comply.
Right, because she's like older now too, so it's not like, when you're like a certain age and somebody's like pinky promise, it feels like this huge thing. And like, baby. I mean, I even tell like I told Ami when she was younger, and I was like, I think when I taught her about pinky promises, I was like, nah, you don't break these, which I think is true. Like you don't break a pinky promise, but it's not as like she's at the age where it makes sense that she would be kind of rolling her eyes at it, but still listening to it. You know what I mean? Which I think is like kind of what happens as you. Like, I mean, if somebody pinky promised with me and broke a pinky promise, I'd be upset as an adult, but I wouldn't be like, but it's also just the way that you think about it, I guess.
I mean, it's the same way as like, you had just said like Ami for a minute thought that like it was illegal to swear, right? It's like,
which who told her that? I wish I had told her that, honestly. Like, I was like, this sounds like something I would say, but I didn't.
But we probably said it was like, you cannot do this until you're 25, and her brain was like, illegal.
Right.
Yeah. Right? I feel like that's a thing where you're just like, well, if I can't do it, then it must clearly be like a stipulation that
I used to know
you can do it.
When I was younger, I used to think that there were things when like people were like, you can't do it. I used to think that like I was physically incapable of like, like the magic of like I don't know if any of you guys have seen like Good Place, but like in the Good Place, you cannot curse.
Yeah,
so if you went to say shit, it comes out shirt. Like you cannot. It will not. You cannot do it. I used to think that way, and so I think that there is some part of Amari, like little kid Amari or whatever, that is like when you pinky level promise.
That's serious.
Someone is looking down on you.
It's like,
and like when I stand in front of the pearly gates, they're going to be like, listen, you pinky level promised to lay down when you put these things on, and you did not. And you'd be like, oh man, that's right. That's
You're right.
a cardinal sin.
Well, what had happened was...
Let me explain the context in which I had to break this pinky promise.
Okay.
Like, this is something you're going to have to answer for.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, let's get into MVP and benched.
All right.
Yeah. I made Amari my MVP mostly because she's a really good sport in this situation. There's a lot of things going on that she does not understand, and she's just kind of rolling with it. And I like that like she is coming with like a healthy sense of like suspicion, but also has like this trust in her brother that like she's gonna be fine regardless. So I just like love that, and love like I just love the like portrayal of her relationship with him. And
I agree. I made Amari my MVP. I think for being a good sport, but also like you said about like loving her voice. I just love that like all of this is happening with her alone in the house, and yet you like really like we feel like we know Quinton a lot more. We like know a lot more about the situation, and it all is happening like in her voice and in her like thought process without it being like explicitly shown to us, I guess. And obviously she's not like a reliable narrator because she's in this herself and she doesn't know what's going on, but like you just feel like you can rely on her experiences when you're reading it, right? Like I trust you.
Yeah.
And so I love that.
I made Quinton my MVP because he like sent her this like mysterious like note and package, and I think that he sent it in such a way that he knew that she would have to be curious enough to actually like go with the plan and strategies and like work with what was going on. And I think that's just like good sibling dynamics to know exactly how to set someone up into like kind of like getting the information that they need. May not be in the manner they need it, like they personally would want it to come, but in the way they kind of probably need it to come. I thought that was fun that he did that.
Yeah. And like going into benched, I ended up benching Quinton, but also this is also not like, because when I finished the chapter, I was like, I don't actually know who I want to bench. And I figured that when we talked about it, I would like come to it. And so literally, like, this is the most tame benching. Like, I love Quinton. I actually do not have any beef with this dude. It's literally just the like, I would hate to get a package and have to wait 8 hours. And he sent the package. He made her wait 8 hours. That's literally the only thing. But I actually don't like. It's not a like, ooh. It's not like benching the Grants last week.
The Grants.
It's just like it's only them two in this chapter and the delivery dude. So between the three of them.
I mean, I knew immediately that I was benching Quinton, and it's partially not his fault. I also kind of /benched the Bureau as like a nameless, faceless organization because we don't know anything about them yet. But this just goes back into like, tell me what's going on. Like, I hate these secret organizations and things, and like, you got this whole secret life, and now I got to figure it out when you're not around. Like, if you would have just like been like, hey yo, sus, let me let you in on some stuff that you cannot tell anybody. Right? I just love, I do love urban fantasies where like there's this secret world and whatever, but I also really love the stories in which it's like, so, oh, my first Mercy Thompson reference. Here we go. In Mercy Thompson, if they're going to tell you about the existence of like vampires and the Fae and whatever, and you are a mundane human, like they will say, I'm going to tell you something, but if you go blab in your mouth, you will die. We will kill you. Are you ready for that? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. And it's like this like level of, yes, you are this like mundane human, but you are important enough that like you need to know the full story so the secrets don't, because the secrets are going to touch you. And so yeah, Quinton is bench. I also, sorry, my mom just texted me and said, because Luna's on sex restriction, punishment is supposed to be based on age, 5 minutes per year. We are both sad and sorry.
So how your mom can be punished per year, per age?
Right? Should I tell her that? How old are you?
How long is your punishment supposed to last?
Silly.
I benched the memory wiping enterprise. I feel like there's a lot of people who need to question the ethics behind what they're building there. Whoever developed the remote, the way that it's like easy to just make the decision to wipe someone's memory because you just have a handy dandy little remote device. They need to rethink that. Maybe put like some padlock, some like passcodes kind of functions on there before you allow people to just be ready to blip a memory at any given moment. Also, I have to wonder at the exceptions for leaping a memory. So I can't think that being in the bureau or like being recruited for the bureau is the only way that there could be an exception to the rule. And I wonder what the other ones are and like who makes those decisions.
And why is it not they mamas and like immediate family? We're gonna figure out a little bit more.
Why can't you like think more about like the consent behind that? Because there's a lot of things about consent going on that I do not like. So I'm questioning the whole memory enterprise here.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I just think that like when it comes to memories, it's gonna be
morally gray.
Like it's I don't think that there's any way to actually fill it out or like to. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to do it to have a memory wipe anything and it be
completely above the
completely,
board. But
yeah.
I feel like there could be better like process than just like, oh, I showed up at your door and I told you strange things and I'm gonna delete it. Bye. Like I feel like there has to be something better than that.
Yeah. That's real.
All right. Thank you for listening. Join us next week when we will discuss Chapter 3.
Wizard Team is brought to you by Black Nerds Create. If you want to keep up with our other content, you can. Check out our website at blacknerdscreate.com and follow us on Twitter at blacknerdscreate, BLK Nerds Create, at Yana Wrote It, at Robyn with a Y _rambles, and at Porshèa, PORSHEUH. Follow us on Instagram at Black Nerds Create and subscribe to our monthly magical newsletter. And don't forget to rate and review.
Bye, y'all.